Can people make money from racing in MMA? Towards the end of my career, I meant to do World Super Sport after I couldn't get a job at World Superbike. I got offered, for me, really good money to go and race a Ducati in the AMA. And so if they were doing that, there were people, quite a lot of people earning decent money then, and that doesn't seem that long ago.
When was it?
It's a long time ago. In actual fact.
What year?
It'll be 2000.
Yeah, you know, I think 02, 03, 04, you know, Mladen and Spies were both probably taking home a couple $1 million a year. You know, there was TV coverage for every race. The championship was an absolute battle. There was Honda trucks, Yamaha trucks, Suzuki trucks, Kawasaki trucks, Ducati trucks. Everybody was there. Everybody was competing. And, you know, it's been since then. Of course, we had the big turn in the economy in 2008. And so that's really keeping the manufacturing getting back involved. But I think even if the manufacturers did really want to support racing, I don't think it's the AMA that they're going to support right now. There's too much uncertainty in where the series is going and what the direction is. I mean, it's been 600s now as the Daytona 200. Well, next year it's going back to 1,000. And well, what's that spec going to be? I don't know. Who's going to build the tire? Well, we don't know. We're going to have to make a pit stop every 10 laps. You know, there's just too much going on there that I think, you know, even though it's the American end of things that makes the decision on whether the manufacturers get involved, the Japanese kind of still oversee it and go, bad idea, guys. So I'm not sure what it's going to take to cure it. Maybe complete change of ownership and, you know, complete cleaning of the house at the AMA and bring a bunch of people in that do know something about racing. Get it brought back in front of a board so that the board makes the decision about it instead of just one person who could really have a certain manufacturer or so in the process. So go to Europe, go racing. Come race BSB if a kid asks me.
We've got a couple of good Americans in BSB, and one that's been through BSB called PJ Jacobson. And in my opinion, he's not doing himself justice at the minute, but he's a good kid. He's definitely capable of winning World Super Sport rounds, if not more.
He came over and really set the world on fire at the end of last year, didn't he?
Won everything. Yeah. Jumped on the Super Stock bike, won it. Jumped on Super Sport, won it. This is at BSB level, and then he did really well last year in BSB class for his first year, and then went to World. Decided to go. He wanted World Championship aspirations. Went to Super Sport World Championship on a decent bike actually, but he had a couple of crashes that he couldn't actually figure out. He's quite analytical. He's not. No disrespect to you, but he's not the type who would just jump out the gravel trap, limp back to his second bike, and go again. I've chatted with him a bit, and he needs to figure out what's happened and. He's knocked his confidence a bit. He's getting back to it though.
Yeah, and I think every time I crashed a bike, I learned something from it. As quick as I got back on the next bike, whether I learned it before I got back on the other bike, and maybe I went out and crashed the next bike as well. But you know, at the end of the day, that's when you have time to download and try and figure out what it is that happened during the day. And you know, I tore up a bunch of stuff. I scratched up a bunch of leathers. I kind of beat up my body a little bit, but you know, everything I did, I learned from. And I think that's why we did as good as we did.
Yeah, but it's having the mettle to go and put yourself in that position straight back again that some people can't do and some can. You know what I'm saying? True. Yeah. One last question from the floor, then we're going to move on a little bit because we have to be chatting a while now.
If you were just going into top flight racing now, would you still want to go to GPs or in for World Superbikes?
I'd have to go World Superbike racing because there's no chance of winning in MotoGP. You know, either or. You know, it would be a learning process no matter which series I went to or anybody goes to. You know, do I get along with Johnny and a bunch of the World Superbike guys? Yeah. Leon, would I like to go rub elbows with him? Yeah, I did a little bit at Suzuka in practice and stuff. Would I like the chance to race Rossi on the same machinery? Maybe. Would I want to race Marquez on the same bike? Absolutely not. I think I'd end up right in the same position everybody else has been, and that's either second or further back. So, and I think both championships are pretty strong right now. Doesn't seem like World Superbike's quite getting the attendance that it needs or it deserves.
That's true. There's nobody going to watch it.
You watch the race at Port. I mean, yeah, the great weather wasn't great at Portimao, but you know, there's more people here.
Yeah, there's absolutely. Yeah, there were more people in the paddock than in the bleachers. at Portman, tragic. And I thought, I went to a press conference, sat through an hour chatting about what they're going to do with the rules, and I asked the question at the end, what are you going to do about getting the crowds back? Now mind the rules, just because you get the rules right does not mean they're going to come back, because the racing's pretty good as it is. And nobody had an answer. Don't know what it is. It's expensive to go and watch World Superbike when you can go watch a BSB, more races, more action, certainly more incidents.
Which just means ticket prices are too expensive, which means the promoter's having to put a price on a ticket to try and cover the sanction fee.
Yeah, that's the thing. The sanction fee, that's the price that the circuit pays to put on. And you know what? The sad thing was, the World Superbike organisers, who are now the same people as organised MotoGP, didn't have an answer. They said, well, it's not our problem. It's not our problem how the circuits get their money back and get the crowds in. That's their problem. So they didn't really care that only 3,000 people went to watch. They're not bothered. Which to me is just waiting for a big sort of meltdown. But anyway. Right, I'm getting on my fucking soapbox.
Actually, I was going to say about a World Superbike. When you watch it, there's loads of British in it. Now, it's great for us British to watch that, but is there a lack of interest in World Superbike from obviously from an American point, and also for what the rest of the world?
I'd take that back. I don't want to go to World Superbike either, because Sykes will just kick my ass there.
Probably now. Right, we're going to move it on. I think Ross is going to introduce the guys who's brought the bikes down, yeah?
Yeah, our two-stroke Sunday event that we ran several weeks ago now, this bike turned up later on in the afternoon. Really impressed, lots of people gathered around it. After we'd done the top 10 trophies for two-stroke Sunday, that one turned up, so unfortunately it wasn't eligible. And I didn't get the telephone number of the rider who was on it. And then we found out Kevin's coming to CMC. I think I've got to get hold of that bike. How do I get hold of it? So, a lot of research on the internet, and eventually found out the guy who built the bike. And from that, phoned him up, and then was able to find out the guy who commissioned the bike. Who very kindly allowed me to call down to his house and collect it, but also let me know that his friend and colleague had this one, which again, I got to collect that very night. So actually, I'd just like to invite Rob and Nick up just to tell us a little bit about these bikes. They didn't know Kevin Schwantz were coming tonight, but very kindly borrowed us these so we could have a look. Part of the deal, I did say that Kevin would sign the back of the bikes for him, so if Kevin could oblige that, that'd be great. But firstly, Rob, do you want to tell us a little bit about your bikes?
Thanks for that, Kevin. We're both big into two-strokes, and we thought it'd be nice to have like a top two-stroke, so the obvious choice is an RG500, but the thing with the RG500, everybody knows, is that the standard chassis is not really up to the standard of the engine. So we did a little bit of digging around on the internet, and originally we're going to use VJ22 frames, but in the end we found that the Spondon frames are still available. So
we found some really nice pictures, didn't we? We saw the banana swing arm on this, and we thought, yeah, that looks really sweet. We've got to have that.
Yeah, so we found a chap, Darren Lane, his name is, based in Cheshire, and he'd been stockpiling RG500 engines for a long while, and he agreed to build it for us. So we got a couple of rolling chassis frames from Spondon Engineering, Stuart Tiller, and he said, well, we can supply the forks and the wheels and the tank, so you've got everything you need, and then you just need the engine and the bodywork and everything else, and that's the difficult bit that Darren Lane sorted out for us. So, I was always after a Pepsi RGV, and although I'd looked for a number of years, I hadn't found one. So I thought, well, I'll have mine in Pepsi colour scheme, and Nick said it's in the Lucky Strike.
Yeah, so here it is.
Which one's fastest?
Well,
You found out?
mine's not very fast with me on it, no, but
We did have an article in the Practical Sports Bike, didn't we? And,
that's right.
a 9-page article, and they took some very nice photographs.
To be honest, the credit to you and attention to detail is unreal. Really, you need to have a close look at these things. Are they rideable? Are they practical to run?
Oh yeah, I mean, when Darren built the engines for us, he said, how much power do you want out of this LG 500, the engine? Because he said, you know, if I make it race spec, you will really struggle even to take off from the lights, because you'll be giving it like 10,000 revs just to get going. And so he said,
wouldn't take off 10,000.
so he said, no, we want it to be sensible. So he said, well, we want it to be faster than a normal one. And, we had them on the, where did we take them to? We had them on the dyno, yes, sorry, thank you, Ross.
Step on it, Kevin.
We had them on the dyno, and they pump out at about 110 horsepower at the back wheels, and they come in at under 150 kilos each, so they're still...
Yeah, that's a sharp motorbike, is that?
It's a what?
It's a sharp motorbike, is that? From power to weight wise? Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a bit lardy compared to Kevin's proper race bike.
Yeah, well, you'd hurt yourself with that. I guarantee you. Well, the credit to you boys, and thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. Now, we promised the boys we'd get them signed by the man, and I think now we're going to do some autographs. Yeah. Where we're going to do that? All right, yeah. Give us a minute. Amuse yourselves, will you? Talk amongst yourselves.
What we're going to do with the autographs, actually from where it says parts department, the queue needs to go this way up to the sales office. So if you can work your way around, if you have got something to sign, we'll show that we can get it signed for you. But also we have got some pictures that we have made that can be signed. So just work your way around. We need the queue to go from parts department this way to the sales office.
But before you do that, we need you to put your hands together for Kevin Schwantz.
Is that bigger than the real deal?
It feels long year to year.
Does it feel like home?
It's big because it used to be really tight, getting elbows in front of this.
Now,
Yeah.